The movie is a true story, based on the youngest soldier in history, named Serezha Aleshkov. Serezha is a 6-year-old boy who lives in Russia with his mom and older brother Peter in 1942, during World War II. Serezha is sitting on a tree while he notices a Nazi plane approaching them. Serezha destroys the plane with his slingshot, but it's just his imagination. He notices his mom has disappeared and wakes up alone in his house, where his aunt Anisha arrives. She reveals Serezha's family has been killed while their village has been attacked by the Germans. Serezha gets scared, so she decides to take him with her, but the Germans shoot her while Serezha escapes from the window. He runs into the forest as his village burns. The little boy is alone but survives the night. The next morning, Serezha hears German soldiers and hides from them under a tree. The soldiers stop to eat some food while Serezha notices a snake on the tree branches. He tries to remain silent as the soldiers finish their food and head their way. He quickly grabs their leftover food and runs away. Serezha's now banged up in the jungle, and as he eats berries, bombs explode near him, causing him to fall from a hill. He finds a stick, but notices something watching him. He mentions not being afraid of it, and continues his journey. He dreams of spending time with his mother and brother until he gets awakened by a hedgehog. Later, he sleeps in the forest as 2 soldiers find him. Now, we meet Commander Sergeyevich Kuznetsov of the Soviet Union Red Army. A soldier named Andrei enters the room, holding Serezha, wrapped in his coat. The soldiers quickly deal with him gently, knowing the boy's afraid. Commander Kuznetsov assures him he's safe, so Serezha shakes his hand and introduces himself. They ask Serezha about his parents, but he remembers his aunt mentioned their fate, so he gets sentimental. The commander tells him not to cry because men don't cry while the army chef brings food for Serezha. In the morning, we see the soldiers chatting in their trenches while one of them, named Rezo, writes a letter to his sister asking for clothes for Serezha. The soldiers now face attack while we see Serezha getting his wounds treated by a nurse named Katya. Serezha asks her about Commander Kuznetsov, and she reveals Kuznetsov is a fierce commander who is afraid of no one, and he was awarded a pistol for his valor. Later, Commander Kuznetsov arrives at the field hospital to check on Serezha. He meets Andrei and nurses Katya and Rita, who are feeding a goat that Andrei found. Kuznetsov meets Serezha, who informs him of his medical treatment. Kuznetsov shows Serezha his medals and his pistol. Serezha is inspired by Kuznetsov and wants to become a commander like him. Afterward, Katya approaches Kuznetsov and asks him to let Serezha stay with them because he's an orphan. Just like everyone, Kuznetsov also likes Serezha, but he knows war isn't a place for a child, so he refuses to let him stay. Soldiers Zhora and Andrei visit Serezha and gift him a binocular, and leave some apples as Rezo now checks on Serezha. At night, Katya shares her love for Serezha with Rita. She mentions that she wants to stop Kuznetsov from sending him to an orphanage, so Rita suggests talking with Kuznetsov again. The next day, a soldier named Egor Maximovich approaches Kuznetsov and pleads for Serezha's stay at the regiment because all the soldiers love Serezha. Kuznetsov still insists on sending him to an orphanage because this isn't a place for children. He mentions the brass won't allow him to stay, and he has already forwarded Serezha's documents. Later that day, Kuznetsov and his men notice the Germans have made their way very near to them, so they launch an attack at the Nazis. Katya rescues a soldier during the gunfire as Kuznetsov and all of his men charge into the battle. Afterward, we see Serezha with Katya, who's ready to be sent to an orphanage. Kuznetsov speaks alone with Serezha and mentions he's sending him to an orphanage. He hands him a wood-carved pistol as Serezha cries and hugs Kuznetsov, revealing he was waiting for him, fearing he was killed. Kuznetsov is moved by Serezha's sentiment, so he decides to adopt him, and Serezha agrees. At night, we see Rezo with army tailors along with Katya, making a uniform for Serezha. Serezha now dreams of riding with his family and gets awakened by Commander Kuznetsov, who brought Serezha's new uniforms. Serezha now walks out in his uniform, as all the soldiers are in awe of the soldier boy. Suddenly they get attacked, so they quickly put Serezha in a dugout for safety. After the attack, Serezha looks around for Katya and Kuznetsov, hoping they are still alive, but a doctor scolds Serezha for never sniveling and believing in victory. Serezha understands and heads inside the medical tent to help the wounded soldiers. He gives them water and helps them read their letters. After some time, Serezha sleeps in Katya's lap as Kuznetsov approaches her. He wants to ask her to be Serezha's mom because she loves him like a son. But Serezha wakes up. Kuznetsov gets shy and doesn't ask, instead tells her to contact him if she wants more tents to be installed for wounded soldiers. Later, Serezha wants to be Kuznetsov's orderly, like Rizzo, so he agrees. Serezha wants to thank whoever made his uniform, so Kuznetsov takes him to the tailor's tent, which got destroyed in the attack, along with the tailor. Kuznetsov teaches Serezha that one should say his thanks in good time. The next day, Serezha shaves his face with a fake wooden razor. 2 soldiers stop by him to goof around with Serezha. Later, Serezha heads into Kuznetsov's office and asks if there is a mission for him today. The soldiers are in awe as Kuznetsov orders Serezha to receive letters from a car and deliver them to the platoon. Kuznetsov notices a patch on Serezha's face and asks what happened, so Serezha reveals he cut himself while shaving. Serezha now meets driver Makiv, who brought all the mail for the soldiers. Serezha reveals he's the new orderly, so Makiv reveals soldiers will dance for him now, because Serezha is the most important person after the commander and the chef. He displays it by demanding a dance from a soldier. Serezha now delivers all the letters to the platoon in the trench, but holds one letter to himself. The soldier, named Artemenko, asks for his letter, but Serezha makes him dance for him. Later that day, Serezha goes scouting with his binoculars and notices a Nazi hiding in a haystack in the forest. He quickly runs back to his comrades and informs Andrei about seeing a moving leg in a haystack. At first, Andrei thinks Serezha might be imagining it, but he decides to take a look. He takes 2 soldiers with him to check out. On the other hand, we see Commander Kuznetsov giving a lift to Rita and Katya, who were collecting berries. Suddenly, their car stops working, so Kuznetsov gets embarrassed as the driver takes a look at the engine. Rita asks Kuznetsov if he's married, but Kuznetsov reveals he never got the chance. The driver fixes the car, and they drive off. Andrei heads towards the place where Serezha saw the Nazi. Meanwhile, Kuznetsov drops off Rita and Katya. Andrei sees the haystacks and orders Serezha to remain back while they capture the German. Andrei lights up the haystack and the Nazi attacks them. There's another Nazi, but Andrei and his comrades manage to take them down without shooting them. Serezha finds their communication device as Andrei takes the soldiers with them. One day, Serezha excitedly brings Artemenko's letter, but a soldier reveals Artemenko passed away during battle. Serezha sadly walks back and heads to Kuznetsov's office, where he mentions fulfilling his duty and demands an order and pistol for him. Kuznetsov reveals Serezha will get those things when he's older. He also reveals that he is officially his dad, so Serezha wants to share this news with Katya too. He takes Kuznetsov to deliver this news to Katya because she has feelings for Kuznetsov. Katya is sitting near the lake, where a soldier sneaks up on her and hands her flowers. Kuznetsov arrives with Serezha and stops, thinking Katya is already in a relationship. Katya refuses the soldier's proposal as Serezha barges in, mentioning his dad is also here but Kuznetsov is nowhere to be seen. Afterwards, during the shooting, Serezha delivers ammo to Igor, who thanks him. Serezha is back in Kuznetsov's office, where they realize their phone connection has been cut off and no one can go to check because of the firing. Serezha takes matters into his hands and heads into the battlefield to fix the phone cable. Serezha finds the part of the cable that has been cut off and asks a dying soldier what to do. He mentions connecting both ends of the cable, so Serezha connects them, and Rezo mentions their line connection is back. At night, Serezha now chats with an elderly soldier who teaches him about love. He mentions that love is like an illness where you feel like being unable to eat or sleep. The next day, Serezha rushes to Katya and informs her that Kuznetsov can't sleep or eat because he has fallen ill. Katya runs to Kuznetsov's office, where Kuznetsov is sleeping. She checks on him and mentions that Serezha informed her about his illness. Kuznetsov realizes Serezha set them up, so Katya leaves his office, so he follows her. Meanwhile, Rezo introduces Serezha to their dog trainer, who introduces the army dogs to Serezha. Serezha is excited and wants to ride with the dogs, while we see Kuznetsov chasing Katya to talk, but she's avoiding him. Serezha rides with the dogs, but they notice a cat and start chasing it and head to the mines area. Rezo quickly rushes off on a bike and manages to save Serezha. On the other hand, Kuznetsov corners Katya near the lake and asks her to be Serezha's mom. Before she answers, a soldier arrives and hands Kuznetsov a letter, which reveals they are set to leave tomorrow. The soldiers now march off from the regiment and make a stop at Rizo's house. There, Rizo's dad mentions a German missile that landed in their house some time ago, but didn't blow. He mentions it's still under the floor, so they quickly evacuate the house and take out the missile. The soldiers continue their journey to the new regiment as Serezha rides with Rizo and his dad. Suddenly, their car runs into a mine and blows up. Serezha survives, but Rizo and Kuznetsov get head injuries. The soldiers arrive at their new location, where Serezha meets General Ostashev and asks for his mission. Kuznetsov assigns him to inspect the clothing of the platoon, so Serezha gets the platoon aligned and asks the soldiers with torn boots to mention their names on a list. Serezha brings the list to the general and asks his permission to allow Katya to marry his dad. The general is inspired by Serezha and gives his permission. At night, Kuznetsov tells Serezha that his division is getting a guards banner, and so will Serezha. The next day, Serezha makes his march as he gets awarded by the general. That night, the platoon faces another attack where Kuznetsov gets wounded badly. The next day, Katya informs Serezha that his dad survived and he can meet him. Serezha finds his dad all patched up and cries, but Kuznetsov reminds him not to cry. He hugs him as we see the soldiers returning home. The title cards reveal Serezha was awarded for battle valor in 1943 and reached Poland to fight another battle with his platoon. Later, he graduated from a cadet school in Tula, and the movie ends here. I am sure you liked the story recap. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.